Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers joins us now with an exclusive interview because you've got some breaking news on how you and other members of Congress plan to hold these top executives of these top sponsors accountable for doing business there.
That's right. I've written a letter, and in the letter, we are appealing to these American companies, to companies that depend upon American consumers to defend human rights. In this letter, we ask the question, where is the red line? If it's not human rights, if it's not slave labor, silencing and disappearing citizens, genocide, where is that red line? Or is it really about their bottom line? We're calling upon them to defend human values and our integrity and to take action to stand up to the Chinese Communist Party. We ask questions about what their financial interests are, questions about supply chains, as well as their relationship with the Chinese Communist Party.
Yeah. And Congresswoman, we've got the top Olympic sponsors up on the screen there. Many of these names, many Americans are very, very familiar with, including Coca-Cola, P&G, Visa, and others. Why do you believe that these companies have chosen to be hush on China's human rights abuses?
Well, it's a question that I'm asking, and a lot of other Americans are also asking. Like I said, where is that red line? And for many of these companies, it seems like they're willing to whitewash the offenses in China. They're willing to turn a blind eye to slave labor, to internment camps, to the silencing and the disappearing citizens. And at the same time, many of these companies stood up, for example, in the United States against a state election law in the state of Georgia, right? They were compelled to stand up and say that election law in Georgia shouldn't be in place, and even pull out of Georgia, pull out of Atlanta, for example, and yet they're staying silent on China.
Well, of course, they see a lot of dollars in China, a lot of people buying a lot of things, and it's big business and it's big profits for a lot of these companies. I wonder if you can tell us finally how you believe these companies will respond to this letter that you're announcing right now. Considering this is Human Rights Watch. They wrote to the companies asking them how they are managing the human rights risks of their involvement with the 2022 Beijing Olympics, but only received a response from Allianz, which stated, quote, "We stand behind the Olympic movement and our long-standing support for its ideals will not waver." So how do you believe the executives are going to respond to the letter, Congresswoman?
Well, ultimately, it is exposing what's going on, and it is putting pressure on them. It's going to be consumers that must ultimately put that pressure on them. I've heard from many of these companies, they tell me over and over, well, it's a massive market. The Chinese middle class is larger than the United States of America. But at what point are they going to defend human rights? The United States of America has this great record of protecting labor rights and environmental standards, and we celebrate entrepreneurship. But these are values that we cherish in the United States of America. We cherish human rights and individual rights. And these companies, these American companies, as well as companies that depend upon a lot of American consumers, they need to be holding these high standards in China. And we know that there's abuses. And at what point are they going to stand up to the Chinese Communist Party?
Keep us posted on the responses that you get and how you further plan to hold those companies accountable. Appreciate you joining us with the news.
Thanks for having me.